And one day my son was here, my oldest son was at my house, and I said, "Oh, let me eat because I need to take medication." He says, "Mom, if you need to eat to take medication, it's not like it was a breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It was like, I've
Right.
got to take, my medication now, my blood sugars are low, so I better eat." And he says, "Why do you have to eat?" I said, "Well, because my sugars can go lower." He says, "Yes, but it won't go lower if you don't eat and you don't take the medication." I mean, it's so simple, right? But I didn't even think of it. Oh, I don't need to
Right.
eat now.
Today we have Desiree Gaffley with us. We actually spent an entire year in a coaching mastermind together. She's very lovely and one of the sweetest people that I personally know. We're going to talk about your particular journey to wellness in a moment. But right now, Desiree, how did you get into coaching women through reversing their type 2 diabetes?
Well, that's exactly my journey. So, in just after 9/11 in 2001, my family and I came to America. We immigrated to America with three of our four amazing children. Our oldest son was 21 and he wasn't allowed to come with us. I didn't understand all the ramifications of immigration to America. And so we thought he could come visit us anytime. Maybe that's a story for another day. But when I got here, it's like packing up. Leaving South Africa was fun because I'm packing up and friends and family offered to help me. And, people invited me for breakfast, lunch, and dinner that last month and was just fabulous. Then I get here. Initially, I don't have a phone, but I soon got a phone and the phone doesn't ring. I didn't have a car for the first time in like nearly 30 years.
Wow.
And guess what? I was very sad. And so while my children was already at school, I was home sitting on the couch and crying. And and I felt bad for them because I thought if I'm so lonely, then they're also lonely. So on the weekend, I compensated with a lovely American cuisine. We're eating fries and sodas and burgers and pizza. And the one thing that we never did in South Africa was to really drink sodas. It was just not part of our lifestyle. Well, here they asked me for a soda, I gave it. And then America supersizes everything. So can I have Mom, the fries is just $1 extra. Yeah, sure. Mom, can I have the supersized Coke? Yes, sure. And before long, all of us had picked up 20 pounds. And, I felt like a mountain. That wasn't the worst part, The worst part was when I looked in the mirror and I saw this person, the mirror wasn't kind to me. And I was then I got into my own head. You know how that is?
Right.
Yeah, because I was trying to lose the weight. That's why I always say dieting is not a good way to go. It doesn't work. So I also did it wrong. I binged all day. What's going to happen? You're going to be hungry at night, right? And then you eat. I still thought I was eating right, but the body is now holding on to the fat, right? And this happened for me for a long time. And then finally, my husband went to South Africa for 20 days. And for that 20 days, I just changed what I was eating. I juiced. And I actually read a cheap magazine which said I would lose 20 pounds in 20 days. I don't recommend it, and I'll tell you why in a bit. But, it worked for me. I thought I'd lose 5 pounds or 10 pounds. No, I lost 20 pounds in 20 days. When my husband came back, he's like, wow, it was such a short period. And I'd lost all that weight. Well, I was very happy. I thought I knew how to eat. I was having smoothies, with fruit, lots of fruit and veg. And I would drink tea with lemon and honey, of course. And I was set for life, right? And then my husband had a heart attack. And I was watching him, and around him. So when I got up from the couch, when I was sitting next to him to make food or do something, felt like I was going to fall. I was really dizzy. And this happened a couple of times. My husband said I should go to a doctor. And I said, no, I don't need to, because I thought it's just the stress of him not being well. Well, when it kept happening, my husband said, you really have to go to a doctor. So I did. And I was diagnosed with diabetes. And to some people, this number might not be huge, but for me, it was, my goodness me, 352 was my blood sugars. And I hadn't eaten that morning. I think I had a half a glass of water. I had nothing. And they said, you sure you didn't eat? I said, well, if a half a glass of water is going to make the difference in that. So I was, of course, put on medication. And unfortunately, I went to a dietitian at a hospital, and she told me how to eat. And that included 165 grams of carbs per day. It was 45 grams of carbs, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Excuse me. And 15 for mid-morning snack and in the afternoon. And I've just lost, actually by that time I'd lost 30 pounds, and I've just lost all this weight, and now it was creeping back, a pound at a time, but it's creeping back. And I didn't know what to do for diabetes. I didn't know how to eat for diabetes. So I just followed the rules. A couple of months down the line, I'm like, this isn't right. It can't be right, because I've known people who were diabetic in South Africa and in America, and they lost weight. Okay, so went to a second dietitian. She gave me the same meal plan, and of course, it didn't work. And then one day I decided that, because I wasn't a bread eater. I love bread, but I'm not a bread eater. If you understand what I mean. I'm not going to make my sandwich any time of the day. And she would say, have a sandwich, for snack in the afternoon and snack in the morning. So then I cut that out. And now I'm very nervous, right? Because I don't know what can happen, that my blood sugar levels can go too low. And I'm checking, and it's not going too low. Okay, I can do this. And then eventually I was researching, and I was checking, and I was, really studying. And I got to the point where doctors who have now become health conscious, more holistic, more about eating holistically. There's a number of them, and I started listening to them and reading their books and buying their books. And then I realized I didn't need all those carbs, So first it was a slow process, because I first took it away from the snacks, then from breakfast, and then from lunch. And eventually I was getting my carbs from my vegetables, and I still do. I no longer, I wouldn't tell anybody to eat that 165 carbs. The sad part is I speak to people, and I really just want them to get onto this lifestyle first of all. I am a health coach, but I would just like to share this information. And these people said to me, well, how can the USA Diabetic Association be wrong?
Girl, okay, so let's rewind. So the first telling sign was you nearly passing out, is what I'm understanding.
What'd you say?
The first telling sign that you got was from you nearly passing out.
Yeah, well, I wasn't passing out, but I was very lightheaded.
Woozy, faintish type of stuff. So that's what prompted you to go get tested.
Yeah.
Then they found out you had type 2 diabetes. Then they proceeded to give you all these medicine, which was one of the questions I had. Did you start buying pills, potions, prescriptions, all the medicine and injections and stuff?
Yes, because I didn't know anything else. Look, I've known people to be diabetic. Actually, a friend of my mom's had her legs amputated, and a friend of mine had his legs amputated, and he was on dialysis. So I knew that diabetes was a debilitating disease. I knew it wasn't something to play with, but I didn't know how to contain it. I had no idea.
I know my mom also had a heart attack about 2 years ago, and they discovered that she had type 2 diabetes as well. And then they gave her these meal plans that consisted of so many carbs, but me, I'm health conscious, so I already knew that was too much.
Yeah.
Like, because she is a bread eater. Unlike you, she's a bread eater. So they gave her this thing that's saying, okay, these are all these carbs that you need, which to me makes no sense, but we're not going to jump on these people who think they're credentialed. Let them think they're credentialed. So, like you, she had to start creating habits to like change her own trajectory. What are some of the examples of habits that you formed to create changes in your life?
Well, like I said, actually, I was doing a summit of 21 doctors and experts, professionals.
Mhm.
And on there was one of the guys that actually attended my summit. He told me that because I mean, I couldn't say that I'm containing my blood sugar levels and my diabetes because I wasn't at that time. I was working towards, and I wasn't even calling myself a diabetic coach at that time, because all I knew was that I had then studied to be a health coach and had all these protocols, and it included diabetic. And my friends also, oh, you should become a diabetic coach. And I thought, how can I when I'm struggling myself? So I
Right.
was just a weight loss coach, and weight loss definitely is part of being um, helping people to reduce their blood sugar numbers. So it was a lot of trial and error. I paid a lot of money. I invested in myself to become a health coach. So I got the protocol. I read through it, and then I went online and I just looked at different doctors that was more inclined to be holistic. And that's when I realized, man, I've got to stop these carbs. I was still a little scared. And then I went to it was called French acupuncture. It was like little balls. It wasn't needles. And the diet that came, my weight came down, my blood sugars came down. And one day my son was here, my oldest son was at my house. And I said, oh, let me eat because I need to take medication. He says, Mom, if you need to eat to take medication, it's not like it was a breakfast, lunch, or dinner. It was like, I've
Right.
got to take, my medication now, my blood sugars are low, so I better eat. And he said, why do you have to eat? I said, well, because my sugars can go lower. He says, yes, but you won't go lower if you don't eat and you don't take the medication. I mean, it's so simple, right? But I didn't even think of it. Oh, I don't need to
Right.
eat now. And that helped me with a thought pattern and research. And so that is what put me on this new path of trying to eat differently. And then, of course, I learned about low carb. I'd always known about it, but I didn't know it would help me with my diabetes. And I can tell you today, I have a whole loaf of bread, or maybe three-quarter loaf of low carb bread in my freezer. Because
Mhm.
sometimes you feel inclined, and I'm not going to grab my family's bread because I have to look after myself, right? So if I want a slice of bread, I can take it, put it in the toaster, or just eat it as is. But for the most part, would you like to know what I eat?
Yeah.
Not now.
Why not?
Yeah. So in the mornings, I either have bacon and eggs,
Mhm.
which I think is wonderful because I ate oatmeal for like 2.5, nearly 3 years. And I've just over oatmeal, but oatmeal also kept my blood sugar levels higher, right?
Mhm.
And so I sometimes make myself like an omelet with some spinach. I love to add mushrooms, or sometimes I would just boil the eggs if I'm lazy and I want to do it quick. I would just boil the eggs on the side and saute some onions and mushrooms in the pan. And I also bought some cottage cheese, which I learned was okay. And sometimes if I just, because you get sick of eating the same thing, I would have some I would add some cottage cheese. But the thing that I like to do also is to make a chia seed pudding. And I've got all those recipes on my free group, because not everybody has the means to get the things they want to, but if they can get little ideas that can help them along the way, and that's what I try to do. I've also made shuffly, and shuffly is just just an egg and some cheese and almond flour. Have you seen those little
Girl,
waffle pans?
I'm laughing because I just discovered this like a month ago.
Oh,
I call
really?
it chaffles. That's how I pronounce it.
So
Chaffles.
maybe
I
that's the
bought
right way.
the little waffle maker from Target. And
Yeah.
I've like gone crazy with it. Like I'm making desserts, all kind of like keto desserts, all kind of like breakfast ideas. And I'm like, this is the best $10 I ever spent in my life.
Yes, it costs only $10. And man, the first time, so everything I do, I like take a lot of time to get started. I'm like, I should buy this thing. So eventually I buy this thing. So I'm like, I should make it. But once I made it, it was so simple, And like you say, you can make it with different things. You can make a dessert shuffle. You can make a breakfast shuffle. With you can do it all many ways.
You can even make like chaffle tacos.
Yeah.
Like instead of getting like the shells that's high in carb, you just make a chaffle. Taco.
Yeah. So those are the things that I promote. And the smoothie is also a good thing, it is healthy. But as a diabetic, I really do watch my fruit in there. For the most part, I'll make a green smoothie of cucumber, spinach. I have aloe in my garden, so I put aloe in, and celery. And I always put a little bit of lemon. Lemon is very good for you. I even put a little piece of ginger in there,
Mm-hmm.
and it just a little pinch of salt to bring the flavor out, because I don't put sugar in there, and olive oil or olive oil, and avocado oil is the other one. My goodness me, it is so good. But you could add a handful of blueberries or strawberries. Now they say you can eat the berries, but everything that you eat is got to be watch the quantities, right?
Right. Which is where your scale comes in handy in measuring cups and spoons. Because before I started on my own health journey, I just went by like eyesight. So I'm like, okay, throw this in here. My idea of a dash is a lot. I'm throwing a whole lot up in here is my idea of a dash versus other people's little dash is like not even bigger than your little finger.
Yeah. And my cousin,
go.
My cousin is a good cook, and her things are always very tasty. So when I was in South Africa and I watched, and her dashes were just that little bit, she'd say, well, she would put 5 different spices in it. And I'm like, how come it's not too spicy? I mean, when I say spicy, it's like I'm not even speaking about hot spice. I'm speaking about other things like onion powder and garlic powder and some salt and all these things. And then I said, no, she really just put a little bit in,
Sorry, you were saying? Oh yeah, girl, I gotta have some flavor in my food. And seeing that all of the seasonings don't have carbs, baby, I'm in here with the garlic, the onion powder, the I don't care. Just give it to me, y'all. It tastes good.
Yeah, it's important though, that's why I say you have to eat for satisfaction, because if you're making a bland piece of fish or a bland meatball or something, you're definitely not going to feel inclined for it, right? And like, now if it's got too much flavor, we want more. So we've got to balance it.
Yeah, that's very true. When you was talking about how your son was bringing up the prescription thing, obviously that is an example of a bad habit that everybody agrees with. So what are some other bad habits that you believe work against people that are trying to better their health?
Well, I am very fortunate that I never was into sodas. So people drink diet sodas, but the liver still sees it as sugar, and that's in the body, it's all going wrong. So I don't want to deny people who feel they have to have it, but I feel if you rather drink your water is so huge. You have a headache and you don't even realize that you hadn't been drinking water all day, right? Or you have problems going to the bathroom and you don't realize I'm not drinking enough water. So I like to say, drink your water. I put a squirt of lemon, and I'm the same. If I have a bottle of water, I could sit here all day. I put a squirt of lemon, and before you know it, it's empty. So find out what works for you. A couple of slices of cucumber or some bay leaves. I know a friend of mine in South Africa puts bay leaves in the water. I feel like a glutton when I leave her house. I keep drinking that water because it feels so good. And so there's these little tweaks that one has to do to help you stay on track to do what you need for your body.
I don't know about
So
anybody else, but I went to like a spa one time and they had like these cucumber and lemon water.
yeah,
And when I tell you, it tasted so good. It didn't even have sugar, but it tasted like it did. I was like, ever since
yeah,
then, I have been doing it like at my own
yeah,
house. Like, let me throw a picture together with some
yeah,
cucumber and lemon. You'll be surprised how sweet it is.
yes,
And it's just water.
absolutely. And then for lunch, you know, people don't realize this, but if you have a nice big green salad, now make it nice, you know, watch watch the dressings you put on there though, you know, whatever you put on there is quite often where the calories are. So I have gotten to the point where I just put a little lemon on it. There is, I think, as Newman, what's his first name, but I haven't got it at the moment because I've gotten to the point where I would rather add a few blueberries on there, and then I don't have blueberries in the morning as well, you know, because as a diabetic, it is a completely different kettle of fish. It's like when you're trying to lose weight, you can eat your fruits. Fruit is great, but when you're diabetic, you have to watch your fruits because the fruits is high in sugar. And I remember when I was diagnosed with diabetes, my cousin in South Africa sent me an email and she said, try not to eat more than 2 to 3 fruits. It was still too much for me, you know, because
Yeah.
I would have an apple and then I'll have a banana and then I'll have some grapes. That is not good for diabetics. So I have a lovely, beautiful green salad. And, you know, you can add something to it. Um, add some, I sometimes put beets. Now, beets are also high in sugar, but, you know, you also have to think of the iron in your body. So I'll have a little bit of that. But for the most part, I just make a big green salad and have a portion of fish or some chicken that I've grilled with it, and it's fabulous.
Right. What is like a misconception there, I say, quote unquote, lie that you've heard about gaining health?
Well, you know, people think that all food is healthy, and it could be on its own, right? But oh, yeah, I'm just having this little piece of fried chicken because, you know, it tastes so good. So if you're putting that fried chicken in flour, there goes your carbs, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, when you say I've been told that's healthy, but it's not healthy, it is like eating all of your vegetables. You know, I like to eat the color on the plate. I think it is all good. But as a diabetic, do have to watch my orange, like watch your carrot intake, watch your beetroot, I just said, you know, so it's
Mhm.
always going to be more on the green side. And I know this isn't true for everybody. When I say that, I mean, if you are not a diabetic, you know, watch what you have on your plate, but you can have the things that diabetics can't. And I also still believe that other parts of my body need some of, like, you know, carrots is good for your eyes. So I will have a little bit, but it's not going to be my daily thing on my plate, right?
Right. Let's talk about your business. When you decided to start your health business, did you have to overcome any personal hurdles?
Oh, a lot. Because first of all, like I said, I was in my own head and I was like, how could I let myself get this way? How could I, you know, not eat properly? How could I allow my children? What was I thinking? And then I found of saying, oh, I wasn't thinking. I wasn't in my moment of being thoughtful, you know, it was like, okay, they're going to be happy if I get them a burger and soda and fries. And it
Mhm.
wasn't moderation, it was the size up, you know.
Right.
And so when I was diagnosed, I was feeling very guilty. I didn't want people to know I was diabetic, so I kept it under wraps. It was like my little secret. I think that was part of the reason
That's
that I didn't
different.
want to become a diabetic coach. And I had all the tools. So the girls that I was with at this retreat, I told them, you know, about my journey, and they also we had formed like a mastermind for girls. And
Uh-huh.
one night we had a Zoom call, and they each one Desiree, diabetes, diabetes. But what I wasn't telling them that I was telling them things that I'm not telling anybody else, right?
Right.
And so it was that was the first struggle, was to be honest with myself, to let myself know you've messed up, but it's okay. You can fix that by finding out how to eat, and then I can help other people. But I couldn't help other people when I was not even admitting to myself that I should be open and honest. It was just all this guilt that I had to deal with. And then, like I said, I had gone to the retreat and I had studied and I had learned that all those carbs were not good. So I started eating better. But the business side was still hard because I was hiding.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I got into the business side, it's like, who am I? I didn't even know how to eat. I knew how to eat. First of all, I grew up with such great eating habits.
Right.
I was 98 pounds when I got married. I was 96 pounds when I got married. I picked up 2 pounds on honeymoon. Now, when I got married, I was nearly 24. So for all those years, I was less than 96 pounds. So to pick up 2 pounds was already huge for me, right?
Right.
And but I ate food. We ate vegetables. We ate good food. I never ate second helpings like I did when I came to America. I never ate second helpings. So what was up with me? And so I had to get past all of that. I've let myself go. I didn't eat well. I didn't take care of my children as I should. And so all of that was in my head. And for a long time, I didn't speak my own truth. And then I had to get past that hurdle, first of all. And now I'm really on a mission. Something that I feel sometimes gets in the way is that there are so many people online that are looking for clients. Now, don't get me wrong. I am here to help as many people as I can.
Mm-hmm.
But the way I'm going to help them is how they can be helped. So if anybody knows about my free group, and they come there, there's recipes. If they ask me a question, I answer it honestly. I can honestly say, I feel this is my calling.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be people who's going to say, I need your help. I want to work with you. And that's fine. But there's people who's going to say, I don't pay for this. It's not even because they don't have money. It's just like I'm not paying for this, but right. I don't know what to eat for breakfast. I say, okay, it's out there. Ask me something else. I have a client who, she's sensitive to dairy. She doesn't like smoothies, and she doesn't like eggs. And this is the first time I came across that all three things that I was promoting at the time was what she didn't want. And I quickly found out that there was dairy-free yogurt, and I got her the information. I told her about Chuffley's, but Chuffley's got dairy and egg,
Right.
So that didn't work for, but now she's got gluten-free pancakes that she's making. And so each person is different. Each person is an individual. And I like to help people. I'm engaging with people who are diabetic. And there are a few people ask me, so what are you selling? It is definitely not. I don't say it's not about the selling, because I don't want to help people, but it isn't about the selling for me. It is about the helping first and foremost. I've told people exactly what to eat. I got onto a phone with a girl who is really in dire straits, and she's in Australia, and she didn't want to come to the Zoom, and she might have thought I was trying to do a sales call. I was not. I was trying to find out where she was, what she needed, and how to help her. And in that regard, I feel I'm giving my little bit back to humanity, and there'll be people who need me and want to work with me. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense, but at the same time, I'm one of those people who preach that when you're always giving stuff away for free, people don't pay attention. People don't even listen to you. They continue like, you're in health. You're giving away some things that can literally change people's lives. And then because you're giving it away for free, they're not even going to listen to you anyway.
That's so true. That's so true. That is very true.
It's like you're giving away all this stuff for free and people's not listening to you anyway. So that's why I feel like you should sell it, because people listen to things that they pay for. Most people do. I have been one of those people who bought stuff and then didn't even do it. But most people, unlike me, actually listen to what they pay for. So there's a benefit in getting paid as a health coach. And you should be getting
Yeah.
paid for all that you do. Even though I do love that you can sit up here and give people advice and not expect anything in return, because that's very humbling. And it's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you.
But girl, you need to get paid.
So the other side of the story, I totally agree with you, because I do believe that your health is your biggest wealth, right?
Mhm.
It's your most important wealth, your number one wealth, I would say, because it is true that people who are healthy are thinking of going on a trip with their family. They perhaps thinking what they're going to cook for tonight. They're thinking of going out with girlfriends or going for a walk or doing all sorts of things. But people who are ill, and I'm thinking of debilitating diseases like diabetes or cancer. Those people are thinking, how can I get better? Their only thoughts are surrounded by that. Their one thought, or all their thoughts is how to get better. What do I eat? What do I do? Where can I learn some more? And so it is actually very wise to pay for it. I paid a lot of money, and fine. So I went to a health coaching school so I could get these protocols, and I bought different books, and I went to dietitians, which didn't work for me, but that's okay. I learned what not to do, right?
Right.
And so I totally agree with you that we should consider our health more important than anything else, because once you are healthy, you can start doing all those other things. And like Hippocrates says, let food be your medicine and medicine your food. Now, what food? And
right.
and so, that is where I can help people, because, my program is 12 weeks. I really think people need 24 weeks. And I think 6 months is better, because it's not just the weight loss you've got to think about, it is the stress and the time management, because stress is a killer, right? And, and the sleep management and the mindset. There's just so many, and the movement, the exercise, the water drinking. Now, you can tell anybody to drink water, but I myself know that it's something that you have to think about actively every day, because I've been where I'm so good with my water drinking. And then there's been a little while, when I was at my daughter's house and I'm busy with my grandson, that I'm at the end of the day, I'm like, I didn't drink water at all today, So
I've been trying to do like a gallon a day.
Wonderful.
So before I even leave the house, I'm like, I need to get 8 cups in. I like schedule it, because if you wait to the end of the day and then try to hurry up and drink all your water, you're gonna be going to the bathroom all night. Yeah. So it's like, okay, if you're trying to meet a goal with water, I feel like you have to be proactive with it.
Yes.
Besides, absolutely. Water actually helps with like bloating. You realize how much bloat you carry around because you dehydrated.
Yeah, and it's true. When I was teaching at a school, I used to get headaches, and when Adobe would come up here right now. Can you believe it? I'm sorry. I wanted to take over my computer. Yeah. So sorry about that. I was teaching and I was getting headaches every day. And I was so tired. Mm-hmm. So I told the one girl that I was working with, and she was like, oh, you probably didn't drink your water. And I didn't drink water that day. And I thought, no, I've got a headache and I'm really tired. I've worked hard all day. She was so right. I started making sure that, because you're busy with the children again, in the classroom. And I started making sure that at each time, like when we're changing to go to the playground, and I take my water with, we're taking them for specials like music or art. I take my water along and I'm drinking water. The headache went away. Another thing that happened to me was I had that afternoon slump, and I think, oh, I'm so tired. I can't even keep my eyes open to get home. Another thing that all that I needed to do was not eat, was drink my water. So all of that happened in the same period.
Right. Oh man, that makes a lot of sense, because I don't like water. I like it now.
Yeah.
But growing up throughout my whole entire life, I've never liked water. unless I was like doing a physical activity, and then water is the best tasting thing in your life. But
Yeah.
other than that, I didn't never like water. So now
Yeah.
that I'm an adult and I'm trying to drink this water, it's like, how can I make it, like we talked about earlier, like this water? But I feel like every human being on the planet needs to be drinking their water, and
Yeah.
they'll discover that drinking water does a lot, not just for your body, but for your like mental health, like you said,
Absolutely.
headaches. Like you can even have like a bad back from not drinking water.
Absolutely. So true.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, it's like these little things aren't like we have a whole menu, water menu. You know, I tell people how to do water, help them to encourage them to drink water. And it's like just have something out on your counter with your bay leaves or cucumber, lemon in it. And so when you walk past it, there's somewhere that you're going to frequent. And when you walk past it, oh my goodness me, let me drink this water. Or like I have a bottle that takes, it's only 24 ounces, so it's only 3 cups. But when I put that out and say, my goodness me, I only drank 1 cup today. It's already 11 o'clock, you know? And these are the little things one can put in there to help yourself.
Okay. One last thing. What advice would you give someone who's like going through an experience and they decided to start a business? How would they go like from idea to turning it into an actual business? Since that's what you did, obviously.
Of course. So I believe that we all have gifts, right? And the easiest thing for you to do, like you in your business, the easiest thing for you to do is what you know how to do, and you do it. And so if you want to start a business, you know, take a little time and sit down and think, what am I good at? What do I like to do? You know, sometimes you can be good at something, but you might not like it. What do you like to do? What comes to you like second nature? And then sort of write that down for yourself. And because some people, I think, buy packages and they haven't thought through what they want to do, right? And then definitely, once you have decided to start a business, have consistent time that you're going to do stuff. I think that people out there who are making great money and who are excelling in their business, they might be working less than you and me, but they are they've got a consistent amount of time, and they know exactly what they want to do. They have their framework. So have your framework and sit down, and in 30 days, I believe, if for 30 days every day you do, now I think I would say 2 to 4 hours, but I think to start off with 4 hours of concept, not 4 hours scrolling Facebook, not 4 hours looking at somebody else's picture or what somebody else is doing. 4 hours of having made a decision and of actually working your business.
Right.
Like if you are in a program, you can't say that the hour that I'm on the school or 2 hours that I'm learning to work, that's part of my 4 hours, because that corrodes it. But if you say twice a week, I have training for 2 hours. So those 2 days I have 2 hours and the other days I have 4 hours, that could work. I really think know what you want to do, know your gifts, know your talents, know your likes, and really do what you feel your God-given talent, use that.
Awesome. That was great advice. Thank you so much.
You're
And thank you
welcome.
so much for coming and chatting with us today. Please let everyone know where they can connect with you online.
Okay, so my Facebook group is where I like to connect with people, so that, and it's a free Facebook group, and there's lots of recipes and tips and trainings in there. It is facebook.com groups, of course, and it is called Easy Energy Accelerator. And I actually have changed the name, but I've kept the URL because it's easier that way. And they will be taken to reverse type 2 diabetes for professional women. And the reason I said professional women, and that's actually what my coach said, to be honest. But I'm really there for busy women, you know, all kinds of, whether you're a stay-at-home mom that's busy with their children, or whether they are in business for themselves, whether they are teachers, whether they're just doing life and they are busy. They're not taking care of themselves quite often. And this is not, excuse me, this is not that a pointing of a finger. It's the truth for all of us, you know.
Yeah.
When my children were growing up, I love to tell them the story that when I was a teenager and before I got married, if I went anywhere, I had my lipstick and my lip ice, you know, the lip gloss,
Yeah.
and I had my sunglasses. Quite often I had my hat, and I could even have had a scarf. But you know, my main focus was my lipstick and my sunglasses, and of course my earrings and whatever. Man, when after my first child, I have gotten somewhere, then I didn't have my sunglasses, or I didn't even, you know, because your focus changes. And although self-care is very important, I think if you want to do a business, you've got to put the time in there. Because when I was a teacher and I left home at 7 o'clock in the morning and I got home at 4, 5, 6 in the evening, I had to do my job, you know.
Right.
So why don't we do that when we're working for ourselves?
In other words, schedule out. If you want to have a business, schedule out a time to actually do the business and work on it. And there has to be time for you to be consistent with working on it if you want it to actually go somewhere.
That's right. That's right.
That's great advice. Thank you so much. And all her information will be down in the show notes, so everybody can connect with her and whatnot. Thank you so much, Desiree. We really appreciate you.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you for this opportunity to share a little bit about myself. And it was just so much fun to talk to you. I love the questions, and I hope that, you know, somebody benefits by it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in. Stop playing at life. Let's go. Hey,
you just listened to Melissa with Stop Playing at Life, because you know damn well you need to go out there and have a life.
Right now's the time. Let's go. Hey.